Discussing technology in Marvel movies inevitably brings up Tony Stark, especially when it comes to his Iron Man suit, which becomes more advanced with each film. Many of you are probably eager to talk about this, particularly his latest suit that uses nanotechnology, but hold on for a moment. Today, we're going to talk about something even more significant: the technology embedded in Tony Stark's chest. Why is this important? Because it is connected to a major project currently under construction in France, scheduled for completion in 2025. This project is called the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, or ITER. This is a type of massive fusion reactor, the largest in the world. Its technology is somewhat similar to what Tony Stark has in his chest. Later, we will see how it works. However, one thing is certain: if this project succeeds, just a single glass of water could power a fusion reactor to supply electricity for one person's entire lifetime. Back in the cave where Tony Stark was held captive before creating his first suit of armor. In this story, Tony Stark is kidnapped by a group of terrorists, and fortunately, his heart is damaged by shrapnel from a bomb, putting his life in grave danger. Thankfully, there is Yinsen, a doctor who is also being held captive in the cave. Yinsen implants an electromagnet in Tony Stark's chest to prevent the shrapnel from reaching his heart. The terrorists kidnap Tony Stark to force him to build missiles, but what does Tony Stark do instead? Rather than building missiles, he creates this device. The arc reactor is a miniature version of a fusion reactor. What is a fusion reactor? We'll get to that later. But here's the fact: in reality, the arc reactor is a small-scale fusion reactor developed by MIT, a renowned university in the United States. Its size is roughly the same as the one in Tony Stark's office. Interestingly, Tony Stark himself is an MIT graduate, so it makes sense that the story portrays him as capable of creating the arc reactor. Even under dire circumstances, he managed to make it even smaller, compact enough to be embedded in his chest. Now, let's discuss what a fusion reactor really is, like the miniature version created by Tony Stark. In short, a fusion reactor is a machine that mimics the way the sun works. Have you ever heard the news about China successfully creating an artificial sun? That's an example of a fusion reactor. So, don't get it wrong, they're not actually creating a sun. They're replicating how the sun functions. So, how does the sun work? The sun operates through fusion reactions. Fans of Dragon Ball are probably familiar with the concept of fusion. Essentially, fusion is the merging of two atomic nuclei. In this case, hydrogen atoms in the sun collide with one another, causing two hydrogen atoms to combine and form helium. This merging of atomic nuclei produces an enormous amount of energy. Based on this knowledge, developed countries are competing to create artificial suns on Earth in the form of fusion reactors to provide a future energy source. The question is, did they succeed? Here's the bad news: building a fusion reactor is no easy task, because what they are trying to replicate is the sun, a celestial body with gravity 28 times stronger than Earth's. Fusion reactions occur naturally and easily in the sun, but achieving the same on Earth requires an enormous investment and highly advanced technology. For decades, fusion reactors have remained experimental, with no satisfying results so far. In fact, many are pessimistic about the success of this technology, as it has consistently fallen 30 years behind the promised timeline. So, up to this point, the only person who has successfully built a fusion reactor and harvested energy from it is Tony Stark. Well, that's understandable, considering he is
genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Due to the challenges of building a fusion reactor, 7 countries agreed to collaborate on constructing the largest reactor in the world. This project, called ITER, is being built on 180 hectares of land in France. China's artificial sun is actually one of the preparatory steps for this major project, as China is one of ITER's member countries. The assembly of the reactor itself only began in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, and it is planned to be completed by 2025. Even then, it will only reach the plasma heating stage. According to estimates, this massive project will cost up to $65 billion. Now, let's take a quick look at how this reactor works. Nearly all fusion reactors share the same design inside. There is a donut-shaped chamber called a tokamak, a term derived from Russian. Within the tokamak, hydrogen fuel is placed and heated to a temperature of 150 million degrees Celsius, 10 times hotter than the sun.
Inside the tokamak machine, two types of hydrogen gas, deuterium and tritium, are mixed together into a superhot state called a plasma. Now, when running, this plasma can reach the incredible temperature of 150 million degrees. Large magnets in the wall of the tokamak contain the plasma and stop it from touching the sides where it can cool down. Now, when it gets hot enough, the two types of hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium and spit out a neutron. Now, these neutrons fly out of the plasma and hit the walls of the tokamak. But they carry energy, and the hope is that this energy can one day be used to heat up water, turn it into steam, to drive a turbine and generate electricity.
That's roughly how it works. What do you think? Will the fusion reactor being built in France succeed? Let's wait and see in 2025. Alright, let's go back to Iron Man. Is it possible for Tony Stark to build that small reactor? Considering the challenges explained earlier, it's indeed unlikely. Fusion reactors need to be large in size. However, this doesn't mean the movie is entirely unrealistic, as there's a well-known theory called cold fusion. Cold fusion is a fusion reaction that occurs at normal temperatures, allowing it to be extremely small, like the one found in Tony Stark's reactor. This theory is based on the discovery made by two scientists in 1989, Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons. They reported unexpected energy generation when they reacted palladium in water containing deuterium. They suspected this was a fusion reaction. Therefore, what Tony Stark built in the cave could be inspired by this research. As in the story, Tony Stark also used palladium. However, unfortunately, the cold fusion reported by the two scientists was considered flawed due to its unscientific methodology and inconsistent evidence. For this reason, even though the technology used by Tony Stark might have been inspired by cold fusion, the reactor he created is not referred to as cold fusion but rather as the ITER reactor, a miniature fusion reactor developed by MIT.